Take my hand, I will walk with you. I won't let go till you say so.
Right, welcome everyone to the Crowdy Files live episode recording at the PA Show London. Thank you so much for coming. It really means the world to us. We are delivering a PA show first, by the way. So this is the first live recorded podcast that the PA show have had. So we're really happy that you're here, and we'd like to just thank everyone for coming and taking time out of your schedule today. We are absolutely over the moon to have our amazing contributors help us deliver this episode, Elevate and Automate, which is a real hot topic coded for our industry. So we're going to be talking about elevating the profession, elevating yourselves, how, and also linking that today, as it's the VA conference, to VAs and how AI is shaping the VA industry and how also personal branding is absolutely paramount for VAs.
Yeah, we're really excited. Thank you for all coming. Yeah. So today we were going to talk about personal branding and AI for assistants, which is quite important for us EAs to, if we want to be recognized, to get into where we want to go to make sure that we get the right job. So over to you, Jodie.
Right, without any further ado, we were just going to get straight into it and introduce our first, needs no introduction, but you absolutely do. Amelia Sordell, LinkedIn Blue Badge, LinkedIn's top voice, Blue Badge influencer and founder of the personal branding marketing agency Clout. If you don't know, get to know very quickly because it's super aligned with what we all do as well. Amelia launched her first business, a clothing brand, at the age of 21.
Yeah.
Wow.
That failed quite quickly.
I'm just thinking what I was
It's a good job I'm not here talking about that.
Then went on, we'll just skip a huge chunk, but you went on to build a 6-figure personal branding agency, Clout, during the pandemic. You've also worked with tech startup founders to FTSE leadership teams, including the National Lottery, on building their personal brands that deliver results, keyword. A strong leader and renowned public speaker. Please help me welcome Amelia Sordell.
Yeah.
Thank you. 7 figures, actually.
7 figures now. We'll be 8 soon.
And we're going to be discussing with a virtual assistant AI is Amy Lester, award-winning and renowned EA and VA. Amy is a virtual assistant and an EA VA mentor. Amy provides assistance and consultancy services for her small business owners since 2019. She offers her clients solutions at every stage of their business journey. She's was shortlisted for 2020 VA of the Year, West Midlands Region in the UK VA Awards, and 2021 VA of the Year, West Midlands PA Awards. Can everybody congratulate?
Oh, yeah.
Amy.
Good to be here.
Let's get into it then.
Yeah.
What is personal branding? Why is it important to us? How can we connect the dots? And how do we make it relevant in our roles? Why is it relevant? There's a hell of a lot of discussion and hot topic around how we as any assistant can elevate our careers and what the gaps are in between. So what are the dots in between to get from where you are now to where you want to be? What is the plan? There's so much in between getting there. And the hot topic at the moment is the chief of staff role. In between that, moving into a strategic executive assistant role. But there's a hell of a lot missing in the middle. I believe that the next hot topic, and it is because we are here, is personal branding for all assistants and how we are not needed anymore in the shadows and how we come to the forefront. So I want to ask Amelia, connect the dots for us. Why should we and how do we remain relevant? Why is it important to me and everyone else here today to understand more about personal branding? What is it? What isn't it? And how can we make it relevant in our role, in our career aspirations?
Okay, I'm going to start first by talking about what personal brand is, because I think a lot of people think it's an ego-driven activity that's all about let's post on Instagram and get 1,000 followers and look at me. That's not what personal branding is. Personal branding is essentially your reputation at scale, right? Every single one of you has got your roles in the jobs that you're in right now because of your reputation to deliver results for your customers or for your employers, right? Your personal brand is simply an elevation of that. It is your resume. It is your reputation. It is your business card to get the foot in the door of the doors that you want to go in. I think it's really important that, first of all, acknowledging that Amy's my EA, and without this woman, I could not live. Like, she literally ensures that we were laughing earlier because there's a bell ringing for like all the things. She's my bell. Like, I'd be late to everything. I'd miss everything. I'd miss flights. I'd miss picking up my children because of Amy. So I want to first of all acknowledge that what you guys do as a function is like absolutely critical to the performance of individuals within leadership, but also business at its core. Like, you guys are the glue that keeps the ship together, as it might be. But why personal branding is relevant for you guys particularly is, I'm sure there's a few VAs in the room, so I'll start with you first, and then we'll move on to the EA side. For virtual assistants, your bread and butter is obviously providing services to the customers that you work with. But I imagine that a lot of you struggle to get new business because you're so in the weeds of your business. You therefore struggle to market yourselves to get that new business in, right? By building your personal brand, you're positioning yourself as someone that can solve all of the problems that your ideal customer has without even having to ask them for anything in return. You're not trying to convince anyone. You're just telling them. And actually, Amy does a really good job, and I suggest you all go and follow her, of putting herself out there and getting people to know who she is and why they should work with her and not anyone else. And she does that with a really perfect blend of like talking about the fact she's a mum and she's juggling motherhood with also like working with her customers. She also talks about like all the trials and tribulations of what it's like to be an executive assistant and like all the things that she does for her like customers, and a long suffering list for you, I'm sure. But because of that, she puts herself at the heart of her business. And ultimately, you are all the products that you're selling, whether you're employed or not. You are people-based service, right? You are delivering your knowledge, your experience, and a service to your customers or to your employers. By you building your personal brand, you're marketing that in its core of what it is, which is yourself. You're marketing the product. So it's a really big missed opportunity if you are a virtual assistant and you're not building your personal brand, because otherwise you're going to have times when customers leave you and then you're scrambling to backfill that hole that's been left in your business because you haven't had the foresight or the proactivity to go and market yourself from the jump. Now, for those of you who are employed, I cannot stress to you, hands up anyone here who's felt like, and this is a safe space, right? There's not a camera on you, who has not felt appreciated by their employer?
Not now, obviously.
yeah.
I'm in the past.
Put your hand up.
John.
A lot of you have felt unappreciated by your employer. Hands up people who feel like they know they're the glue that keeps their employer's diary together, but they don't feel acknowledged for that.
Yeah.
Right? You guys are doing these incredible roles for these high functioning people, and you don't get the recognition you deserve because you're not visible. You are behind a curtain, making sure that everything is working, making sure the pulleys are going down, making sure the curtain goes up, making sure the curtain goes down. You don't get the recognition you deserve because you're not seen. I cannot stress to you enough how valuable it is for you to build your personal brand online, because it's going to put your face and the stuff that you do at the forefront of your employer's mind. So when a chief of staff role comes up, or an operations manager role comes up, or something, or even a promotion opportunity, you're going to be right at the forefront of their head every single opportunity that comes up, because you've been in their face the entire time on their LinkedIn feed, on their TikTok feed, wherever it is that your clients live. I can't stress to you enough how important it is to be visible within the organization that you're working in. Has anyone seen that episode of Friends where Rachel starts smoking because she wants to get a promotion?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not in the smoking area, you're not going to get a promotion. And the smoking area here is LinkedIn. So that would be my kind of speech to kick off with.
Let's pause there then for LinkedIn. I want to kind of demystify social media and the relevance to personal branding. For me, not even 4 years ago, there's no way I would be thinking about a post or typing anything out without thinking, oh my God, they're going to think she's showing off, she's boasting, what's the point? I don't understand what I'm doing it for, who's watching, and the visibility terrors, I call it. So we've spoke about this before, where I'll just fast forward a little bit to unpack what I'm saying, is you think, oh, no one's engaging with me. There's no point. I get one like. I feel a bit crap now. No one likes me. I'm not getting an engagement. And then you see high engagement and maybe low interactions in the forms of likes or comments. So can you demystify that visibility piece where people are still absorbing and reading and seeing what you're posting in form of sharing the knowledge, which is what Craig and I are all about, is just sharing what we know. And that fear, that visibility terror of someone's watching, HR's watching, my boss is watching, I can't be authentic because I want to talk about this. And what if it highlights me? How's that then going to look? See a few of you nodding. I think you can relate to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to me. Something just fell off me and clicked. And I just got to the point where I don't care anymore. I'm going to work on me. I'm doing that. But for Amelia specifically, unpack the visibility terrors and the I call them the silent stalkers, if you like, in a good way.
Lurkers.
Yeah, and the reason why we should be visible and there, but we don't need to be prolific on every social media site. But how does it tie into just trying something on LinkedIn, and why?
I think there's like 3 questions there, so I'll try and break it down. But let's start with the visibility piece, because I think actually everyone has a fear of visibility.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean that on social media. I think every single one of us are scared in some capacity of something, like whether it's asking for a discount at Zara, or like asking that person out on a date, or like trying to negotiate with your toddlers whether or not they should have their broccoli. Like everyone is scared of something. And I think I understand the scaries that you're talking about. I used to have them. It's very easy for me to sit here presenting as a very confident woman on a stage, doing this. But 5 or 6 years ago, I had no self-esteem, no confidence. I remember I used to get my ex-husband to order food with the waiter because I was so nervous to speak to like a stranger. Like he would order for me.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here on this stage right now because I built my personal brand. And I'm not saying that from an expertise perspective. I'm saying that from a confidence perspective.
Right.
Posting content online and people telling me, co-signing stuff and say, well done, that's really fantastic, but also telling me I'm wrong and disagreeing with a lot of the stuff that I post has given me a sense of confidence, sense of self-worth, self-esteem. I don't give a shit whether someone thinks they like my stuff or not anymore. And to your point about a like, I don't care whether I get 1 like or 0 likes or 100,000 likes, because I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am.
Right.
And I know that whether or not, someone agrees with me on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram or wherever channel I'm building, that is not validation for my personality. And it's just a distribution channel for it. And I think we spend so much time, particularly, I know I'm not going to try and make this about gender too much, but there's lots of women in the room. We spend a lot of time seeking validation from other people for our self-worth. When you start building your brand, it gives me goosebumps talking about it because it changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed my life. I was left an unhappy marriage. I bought my own house. I now run a multi-million-pound business with 13 employees. I get to do this for fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like it changed my life, but it started with me. It started with me being okay to share what I wanted to share and be who I wanted to be and choose how I showed up in the world and be 100% okay with the consequences of that. And the reason that is really important and powerful is when you're confident in who you are and you know who you are and you know what your vision is and you know what that journey is that you want to go on, you ooze that in every single aspect of your life. And guess who wants to pay people lots of money who put their shit together? Employers, right? When you show up in a way with confidence and you know what you're doing and like you own the place, particularly in this type of role, people will throw money at you because they want people like you in their business. And to your point about visibility, like what if people think that I'm, making it about me, and whatever? Building your personal brand is not about look at me. It's about look what I can do for you. And
Say that again.
Personal branding is not about look at me. It's about look what I can do for you.
Love that.
Really, really
There
powerful.
it is. That's it.
And this is the difference, right? Between like having a camera in your face and being like, oh, look how amazing my makeup is and look at the new bag I bought and whatever. And that's fine. We all love that content. Don't get me wrong. I love an Hermes box. Big fan. But that's not going to get you employment. That's not going to get you customers. That's not going to get you your dream role. What's going to get you your dream role is showing up is exactly how you present in the real world. Because guess what? That's why your employers have hired you, because they think you're fucking great.
Yeah.
If you can present that in a scalable way, you'll not only be able to ask for more money when it comes to promotion times and get more clients and charge more and all of those things, but you will get opportunities to do things like this. If this is the kind of thing that you want to do, you will get opportunities to enter rooms that you otherwise just wouldn't have access to. building your personal brand helps you kick down doors that simply just wouldn't exist without it. And so if you're not willing to do that, someone else will, and you will miss out on opportunities that you deserve.
And that's what we've been saying. If not you, who?
Yeah.
Meaning if you don't do it or start doing it in some capacity, not the full blown package, if you like.
You don't need to
Start
bring a videographer to your...
Start small. Just do one thing. And trust me, one thing just leads on to other things. And with the topics of how do we elevate and how do we progress in our careers when we are the backbone, the company, we are the glue that holds everything together. We're always behind the scenes, which is great. I love doing that. I've been doing it for over 20 years. I still love doing it. But there's also room for progression. There's room for growth. And if you do want to move in your career and you're not sure what that looks or sounds like or what it is on paper, as in job title, well, guess what? It's a stepping stone towards working with the C-suite. It's a stepping stone towards working as a chief of staff. It all means something. But again, choose your platforms wisely. We don't need to be everywhere.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on something you just said there, which is it's not about being the best. It's about being the best known.
Right.
And that is,
Yeah.
like, look at Amazon, for example. You can buy books anywhere, but we all choose to get it on Amazon because Amazon's like convenient, yes, but also the best known. If you're the best known in your industry at what you do, and becomes significantly easier to get what you want.
I love that. I love that.
But also on your point about platforms, like I was only on LinkedIn. So I've been building my personal brand now for 5 years.
Yeah.
And now on every channel, I have a podcast, I have a weekly vlog that goes out, hence the videographer. Hi, Ollie. Hence, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on all the things. But I was on LinkedIn only for like 3 of those 5 years.
Wow.
I didn't even have a website for the first 18 months of my business.
Wow.
All of our business came through my LinkedIn profile.
Wow.
The other thing is as well, obviously you set the foundations whilst you were still employed as well.
Because I built my personal brand. And so as soon
Yes.
as I pulled the lever of I'm starting this business, we were oversubscribed within 4 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's really important that you understand where your audience is. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You don't need to please everyone. If someone doesn't like your content, great. That means you don't have to worry about dealing with someone who's not going to buy from you anyway. Be okay with being yourself. Afford to be yourself, I think is probably a good way to put it. And if LinkedIn is where you need to be because you're trying to attract executives, you're trying to get the attention of your CEO or whatever it might be, stick on LinkedIn. Don't worry about the other channels. If you're someone who's operating in a slightly different space and you think TikTok is your bag, go on TikTok. But I would always say focus on one channel, focus on where the money is, focus on where the opportunity is, and then don't deviate from that goal until you've learned how to execute unbelievably well. And trust me, you'll learn very, very quickly. I think a lot of people think that this kind of stuff is hard.
Yeah.
Trust me, most days I don't even have 2 brain cells. This is not that hard. It just requires a level of consistency, which all of you are going to be much better at than I am, because this one has to remind me to do most of this stuff all the time.
No, everyone.
So what about social media then? I think, I don't know about you guys, but social media a few years ago just petrified me because I am behind the scenes. I do keep things ticking along. This is kind of an old story, so I don't mind sharing it. But there was an assistant who asked me, how do I get from there to here? What course do I need? What education do I need? What letters after my name do I need? What's relevant? And I said to her, well, what are you known as in the office? Just as a bit of a joke. And she said, I'm known as the office mum. And I almost didn't need to say anything. So do you think we need to start shifting that persona towards office mum to office manager, and then office manager to operations manager to director of administration? Do you think that might help? And it was just a bit of a light bulb moment for both of us, really, where we thought, you can't actually go from zero to hero. You do need to put in some steps. And social media isn't the only way to build a personal branding, is it?
No.
It's not just social.
All of you here are sitting, you should all be meeting each other after this and shaking each other's hand and seeing if you've got any opportunities with each other. Like, we really, really grossly underestimate the value of networking. And I feel like it's a bit of a COVID hangover, right? Like, pre-COVID, there were loads of these events happening. We'd meet people, we'd interact with them, we'd go for drinks, we'd say, can we grab a coffee? Da-da-da. No one does that anymore. And I feel like your competitive advantage of the people sitting in the room right now is you're in a room right now with people in your industry that can open doors for you that you otherwise don't have access to, or might open doors for you in the future. And if you can get into their space right now and make friends with them and like keep up with them and remember the fact that they have a 2-year-old and like ask them how their, first day at school went, if they're 4 or 5, not 2, that stuff really compounds and turns into really meaningful relationships that actually becomes opportunity long term. To your question about social media followers, it's not about followers, it's about creating friends, because followers aren't going to advocate for you. Followers aren't going to open doors for you. Followers aren't going to invite you to do things like this if this is what you want to do, or invite you into closed interviews for executives on a FTSE 100. It's going to be personal recommendations from people who've got to know you, who've got to know your experience and think you're really great at what you do, that's going to open those doors for you. And you can do that at scale online, like I have. We've had some incredible opportunities come up recently. We were just talking about this before we came on stage. Inbound for us, where people have seen our content on Clout and my content and my team's content and gone, that's the agency for us. And they've never met us. But more importantly, they've thought that we know what we're talking about because they've had other recommendations, people who have met us. So your personal brand is not just something that sits on LinkedIn or sits on TikTok or sits on Instagram. It's actually how you just show up. And if you're very different in this room as you are online, there's a really big problem there, because it means that if people do interact with your content online and they meet you and you're completely different, like that creates mistrust.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like if you booked a service and then the service was, or you ordered a burger and it turned out to be like a burrito. You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So don't be a burrito.
Yeah.
Burger.
So how do we get started then? For some of us that have never touched social media or we've just been lurking, how do we get started? How do we find our why? And we talk about goals a lot.
Yeah.
How do we get going when some of us have never done it before? We haven't got a clue what to post, don't know how to get started. What are your top tips?
What are my top tips? How long have you got? Right. I think the number one thing is, what is your goal? And this is an interesting thing, because when you say, what is your goal? Most people go, I want 10,000 followers. I was like, no, that is not the goal. Dream bigger than 10,000 followers, please. What is your goal? Is it that you want that chief of staff role? I know for many of you, that might be that next stage, or maybe it is your current stage, but like, what is that North Star? Is it that you want to buy your first home? Is it that you want to be able to, I don't know, get enough income coming in that you can save to then have a baby in a year, or you want to take your wife on holiday? Like, what is the goal, right, that you're trying to work towards? And it needs to be something intrinsic that's going to keep you on track. Once you've worked out your goal, you can then go beneath that and go, cool, who do I need to attract to make that goal happen? So if your goal is that chief of staff role, who do you need to attract into your network to make that happen? It might be CPOs, it might be CEOs, it might be like really, really top level recruiters and headhunters. Who is that audience that you're trying to attract to make that goal happen? Once you know who your audience is, you can then work out what you need to talk about to be able to position you as someone worth following by those people. So for example, if you are someone who wants a chief of staff role and you're on LinkedIn and you need to attract, because you want to work with startups, right? You want to attract founders and executive, as chief execs. You know that those audience are. If I were you, I'd be posting content that will resonate with those people because you already work with those people. So what are the trials and tribulations that they have? Lots of my previous employees have really struggled trying to balance family time and work time. And like, I know at the start of a business that can be really, really difficult. And my role as a chief of staff is to make sure that the team are working together to execute that for that executive, because if he or she can't show up, then the rest of the team are fucked. Like, that might be something that you want to post because that's going to resonate with those founders. That's going to resonate with those chief execs. And you all know that because you work with these people day in and day out. So all you need to do is basically take your every single day and then turn that into content that then is going to resonate with the people you're trying to attract. Yeah. And what you would do is bring those people into your network and they'll start seeing all of this going, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. Boom, you then open up all these opportunities and people will be like, oh, I saw you posted that the other day. That's really interesting. We've actually got this role coming up with this VC-backed tech startup. Would you be interested in applying?
And that's really interesting to just pack that into this conversation. Don't be afraid of sharing your knowledge. And that's what Craig and I are all about.
Yeah.
You can't work in a silo and expect growth. Share what you know. It's not about allowing other people to copy you. No, there's only going to be one you and the way you do it. Don't be afraid to share the knowledge. You'll get much more interactions, engagements, and the ROI of just being you is going to be so much more valuable than just keeping it to yourself. You'll be amazed at who the doors are open where you can just let your guard down, take the cloak off, and just add value. Network, learn, and grow is what we promote
Always
all
say.
the time.
That's such an important point to make. Like, we charge, so as an agency, sorry to interrupt you, but I really need everyone to understand this. As an agency, we charge a lot of money, right? Our entry level is like 50 grand a year to work with an executive. I give 100% of my knowledge away for free. If you really wanted to, you could just follow all of my LinkedIn posts and you could actually do what we charge to do yourself. But 99% of people can't do that because A, they don't have the time, they don't have the expertise, they haven't got the knowledge, etc. Don't be arrogant enough to think that your ideas are unique. If you think the way that you do things is unique, you're really, really going to be barking up a very, very large tree because there are lots of other people in the room who could do exactly what you do in the same way you do it. But the thing that makes you unique is you, right? You might be doing exactly the same job function as every single other person in this conference right now, but the way you do it and your personality is what makes you unique. Like, one of you might not work very well with someone else, but the other person might be perfect for that person. I think it's really, really important, and Amy does this so well, is to bring her personality and like who she is as a person into her content, which is what makes her likable, trustable, and someone that you want to do business with.
Perfect link into Amy.
Yep,
now.
Amy.
Hi.
Let's bring Amy in.
Let's bring Amy in. So
Good segue.
I've been an EA for almost 20 years, but I've worked in large corporations and production companies. But I have to take my hat off. I am unbelievable. Virtual assistants, I could never do that. I'm a people person. I have to see people. I have to talk to them. Even if I'm not getting an email back, I'm going to call them just so I can have another voice on the other side and go, hi, my name is Craig. Virtual assistants, how do you do that? So that is really admirable. So
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to ask you those questions that we've been getting
Okay.
about virtual assistants. For example, can you explain that AI is shaping the tasks of all assistants? How much is it used by VAs, and what tasks are you using the AI for?
Sure. I think it's something that's very much emerging at the moment. I know there's a lot of noise around AI within our sort of industry. I also think there's a little bit of fear there, maybe, that we're going to get replaced, and that it's kind of going to replace a lot of our bread and butter, particularly sort of EAs and VAs kind of at the start of their career, their journey. I think in terms of the kind of day-to-day tasks that it can replace, I think that very much depends on the unique sort of responsibilities of the VA or the EA. Certainly for me, the way that I utilize AI at the moment is in areas that maybe I'm not particularly strong. So things that might, take me a lot longer. Obviously, VAs in particular, obviously we work under the concept of time. So, whether that's the time that we're charging to our clients, how long everything's going to take, they're paying us for a fixed amount of time. So anything that kind of can create an efficiency, anything that can streamline a process, that takes away you having to actually manually do something, that is, I guess, like an easy way to implement kind of AI into your sort of workload. For me specifically, that's things that are, I guess, more creative. So I'm very good at, you tell me what to do, I'll get it done. I'd like to think Amelia can testify to that. Like, if she
You
tells
tell me what to do.
yeah. So if I have a task that I need to complete, it's getting done. Like, my clients generally, they don't have to ask me twice for things. They know that that's been delivered. That's obviously the whole point of having an exec assistant or a virtual assistant. But for me, I know that I can over procrastinate with particularly things that are slightly more creative. So, for example, if one of my clients turned to me and said, "Oh, I want to do a team day, like a team building day. We need 2 activities," I would literally probably spend, if I had the luxury of the time, half a day thinking, well, how long do the breaks need to be, and what structure does that need to have, and whereabouts should we base it? Something like ChatGPT can take away that thinking, and kind of give me that template that then, as an experienced EA, as an experienced virtual assistant who knows her clients kind of inside out, I can then kind of plug my knowledge into that template, but it saved me the time of that procrastinating time to start off with. And I think that's where AI can really add value, having software platforms that can talk to each other, removing that manual process of having to kind of go into one platform and then replicate things in another. They're very easy ways to alleviate some of the sort of manual responsibility. And the benefit of that is that then you can focus your time on being more strategic, and particularly if you're, a VA that's looking to attract higher value clients, or clients that are, like Amelia, completely sort of bossing it. Or equally like that kind of promotion, you want to be positioning yourself in a more strategic sort of vein, and taking away that kind of busy work, that that mundane, repetitive work, by using something like AI to your advantage. Yes, that's replacing you actually doing it, but it allows you the capacity, the time, the brain space to actually position yourself as a strategic advisor to your clients or to your exec. And ultimately, I think that's what we all want here. We want to be the person supporting them and being able to identify the problems before they happen, make those suggestions to make their lives easier. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't think AI is here to take our jobs away. I think it's the EAs that learn the AI software and how prompts are working are going to take the jobs away from the EAs who are, I don't have time for that. I don't know how to learn more software. I'm too old. I mean, it was my 50th birthday 2 days ago. I'm not old, and I'm still learning the prompts. And I think getting back to what you were saying is that, for example, you time your clients, per hour, for example. And then you got this task of 6,000, a spreadsheet of 6,000 contacts. You need to find all the email addresses for that. So what you do is you create a prompt within the AI, ChatGPT, or whatever software you would use. And then you would say, go to all these folders, what you want, to extract all those emails, and you put the Excel spreadsheet code or the file name in there. And that would automatically, which would take you about 6 or maybe a lot of hours, to put 6,000 emails into a spreadsheet. And then what you can do is use that same prompt 2 weeks' time. Just copy and paste whatever information you want in that same prompt, and it'll just carry on doing it in the background while you just crack on with other stuff. So that's what you were talking about.
I think AI is just another whole thing, as me and Craig say on the podcast all the time. This is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
We can go a bit deeper with that in other episodes for you, and invite Amy to come and chat about that.
Yes,
I do want to mention that Amy also mentors and coaches VAs to how to get started, and she offers strategy days. So connect with her afterwards, or come and see us on stand E16P, and she has a free downloadable for you all, a free giveaway, sharing her knowledge on some useful prompts for VAs.
Yeah.
We've come into question time now.
Yep.
So we've got time for one question for Amelia. Anyone on the floor got a question for Amelia? Zoe, you've always got questions. Can we get a mic to Zoe, please?
Thank you. This has been great. Thank you so much. It's a real honor to be able to sort of listen to you guys, and I'm a huge fan of the Creative Files. I guess one of the things that I've kind of seen from the admin industry is that we've all got such big personalities, and we kind of, we're really good at projecting that to each other. One of the things that I find is EAs have a tendency of, they struggle to do that in front of their principals and executives. What would be your 3 tips to be able to project their personal branding to their executives?
I'm going to be really naughty. She knows what I'm going to do. I think she should answer this question.
God.
Because Amy's actually got a really strong personal brand, and actually she challenges me a lot as well. So there we go.
I think from my perspective, building that trust and that authority, I think that is the key, the fundamental. Being able to back yourself up in terms of what you say, and being able to pack that up for any of the execs that you're supporting. I think certainly from obviously my experience, I rely quite heavily on LinkedIn, but I often will sort of share I guess like social proof. So obviously being a VA is slightly different because obviously I work with lots of different clients, but being able to sort of say, this is kind of an example of what I did, or, this is a problem that I'm having and this is how I solved it. And being able to speak as an authority on that. That's kind of the way that I do that within.
You're showing your value.
Yeah.
You're adding value. You're not being, as I say, not being all sizzle and no steak.
Yeah.
You can back up everything you've done. You can show what you're doing. You can show, this is my to-do list, but this is what it transferred into ROI for the business because I've freed up so much of your time.
Yeah.
Being confident enough to say, I'm doing this and I'm doing it really well and I stand by it, rather than, well, I could have done this, or I'll make sure it's a bit better next time. Having that confidence. So personal development, equally as important as professional development, always. You can't have one without the other, in my opinion. But I know Virginia's got a hot question over here. Oh, a list, whole book.
And for those who have questions and wanted them to be answered, you can come to E16P and we can record them and use them for our podcast episodes so we can get some answers from other collaborators.
Virginia?
Thank you. I've been in EA for over 30 years now, and the technology has been incredible. Everything that's happening, everything that's emerging. What advice would you give to people that are just starting out for them to focus on? How would they start? What would you recommend? Thank you.
In terms of software?
In terms of everything. Yeah. If you're just starting out as an EA and you want to become a VA, things like that.
So the stepping stones. What do we need to go from? Maybe the personal branding?
Yeah.
Standing out, adding value, showing your worth?
Because I think you can, you can add value and you can have a relevant opinion and relevant knowledge, even if it was day one of what you're doing. I'm going to quote Amelia, but just effing, I'm not a swear. Do it.
Just fucking
let Amelia swear. And actually just, it's particularly as a VA, I think we can spend a lot of time procrastinating. Like, is the logo right? Is the website right? Is the messaging right? Have I got business cards? Have I got this? Have I got that? And particularly when I transitioned from being kind of an exec assistant, ops, sort of full-time employee into running my own business, I spent an awful amount of time just trying to get everything perfect. So I think the one piece of advice I would have is to just jump into it. Particularly, as I said, I'm obviously looking at it slightly from a VA side of things, but you might change the services that you offer. You might start down one path of focusing on a particular industry, or I'm going to become a specialist in like email marketing, and you might get 3 months into it and be like, actually, I hate email marketing. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. And you can pivot. There's no harm in doing that. But if you don't actually get started, you're not going to know. Equally, I found myself in a bit of a weird niche where I have a couple of clients that work in like entertainment and like video production. Well, I didn't really have an extensive background in that, but I found those clients, and now that's a major sort of part of the service that I offer, that allows me to offer additional services to other clients in other industries. But if I'd have sat down there on day one and gone, I'm going to go and approach the entertainment industry, well, I wouldn't have known how to do that. But now I have that skills and experience just from actually getting started. To kind of jump back slightly, obviously you were talking about building trust and the kind of power of obviously your personal brand and promoting yourself online, but equally having that authority and being a trustworthy figure just to your clients or the people that are in your organization, and how that opens doors. And one thing that I think has really sort of helped that for me is being able to sort of back everything up that I'm sort of doing and talking about with examples of relevant sort of work that I've done maybe for other clients.
Can I just add one quickly? From my point of view, I would always showcase my soft skills, my adaptability, my empathy, and my emotional intelligence. And that will get you into the doors and try and get you a better job that you
Yeah.
want to get.
Absolutely.
There's two things here, and it's not necessarily relevant to just executive assistants. Number one is you're going to suck at everything that you start when it's new.
Mm-hmm.
I sucked at personal branding. I look back at some of my videos now and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I posted that. But here we are. You suck at everything when you first start. I think the second thing is everyone here is talking about add value. Like, what does value mean? Value could mean a meme. It could mean a dancing video on TikTok. It could be that you give people a white paper on how they should be building their personal brand or how they should be running their business. Value is defined by the person you're trying to be valuable to. So if you're someone who's really funny and that's a huge part of your personality, it's also a big reason why people like you, lean into it. If you're someone who's really, really organized and you're someone who is employed for that organizational skills, lean into it. If you're someone who is an introvert and finds the concept of even posting content online really quite scary, lean into it. The thing that makes you unique is you. And to your point about what's your advice for people when they first start out, like I said, everyone has to start somewhere, but document your journey from zero to expert. And I think people will be really, really bought into you as a person and ultimately will want to be a part of your network.
Great.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So I think that's our session for today. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and coming on stage. And really, it's been my favorite episode so far.
Definitely.
I think you guys absolutely nailed this, by the way. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come take my hand.